But the Lord came, and He took me up into the heavens and took me into deep outer space. And I found myself racing along with two comets that are coming to the earth. Oh, I looked at these, and I'm moving with them. I see these two big, I guess you would call them meteorites, big, enormous pieces of stone. They're comets, and they're hurtling through space at incredible amount of speed. And I could see, as I'm flying along with them, way off in the distance, I can see this little blue dot, and that was the Earth. And it's getting closer, and these things are moving very, very quickly. And I was just watching this, and as I looked at the two comets, there were two angels, one on each one. And the angels were kind of like wrapped around the comet, just like this, like holding on to it. And the angels were on fire. They were fiery beings. And even though that rock was traveling through space, there's no atmosphere, there's no friction, there was still fire coming off of it because of the angels. And I looked at that, and I said, Lord, I said, what is that? And I want to read to you what the Lord told me they were, because I was watching that. The Lord said, these two comets will enter the atmosphere upon the passing of two giants of the faith. They will signify a new era of miracles and evangelism. He said a new day is about to dawn. One of the comets was just slightly ahead of the other. So when they're going to arrive into the atmosphere, they'll be very close together. And I believe one of the men will go before the other, but it'll be a very close timing of this. And they're already into the solar system, and they're getting closer. And I was watching, and as I looked, you take a risk when you go sometimes into these types of things, but as I was looking at those two comets and those angels, I said, oh Lord, I said, those are female angels. Oh, you're saying, oh, Brother Brooks, you're not going to go there, are you? I mean, their hair was on fire. I mean, it was unmistakable. It wasn't a guy with long hair. These were two angels. They were female, and they had like robes on, and the robes were fluttering back, and they were just riding on those comets. And but that's what was taking place, is they were guiding those meteorites. Now, when these two men passed, this will be a supernatural sign from God when you see these comets enter the atmosphere. There is no way the Lord's going to let them pass without something confirming a shift. You will see two comets that will enter the Earth's atmosphere. It will be talked about on the news. And as far from an astrological viewpoint, I don't know what's coming or what's up there. I don't know anything about that. But you're going to see, and I preached one time a message 5 years ago about the same type of thing, and within 1 month, we had the largest meteor shower in the history of the nation in one area that I was at. It was spectacular. It went on all night long with over 30,000 meteorites that came down in one night. You can go. It was called the Linoid meteor shower, and it was remarkable. And the Lord just it was amazing how He had timed that. But those two angels are coming, and they will enter the atmosphere. The meteorites, the comets, the shooting stars will enter the Earth's atmosphere. They will be visibly seen. And the angels are also arriving to accomplish a purpose that God has for them. Would you like to know the name of those two angels? One of the angels was sustaining glory. The other was sudden glory.
Blessed are the eyes which see the things that ye see. For many prophets and kings have desired to see those things and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them.
All through the Bible, what God did for one, He would do for all.
Jesus was a miracle worker.
Yo digo a ustedes que Jesús era un obrador de milagros.
And He's the miracle worker today, the same as He ever was.
Him that cometh to God must believe.
Yule anayemjia Mungu ni lazima aamini.
If you come to God today,
Ikiwa wewe utakuja kwa Mungu leo,
you must believe.
ni lazima uamini.
You must have faith.
Ni lazima uwe na imani.
You must believe in God.
Ni lazima umwamini Mungu.
You must believe that He loves
Ni
you.
lazima uamini kwamba anakupenda.
Believe that He created you.
Amini kwamba alikuumba.
Believe that Jesus loves you.
Amini kwamba Yesu anakupenda.
Believe that Jesus died for you on a cross.
Amini
Он упал куда-то, да? Ебать, а! Что это хуйня? Какие, что это такое? Бомбардировка, нахуй! Артподготовка, блин!
And then he began to tell me that he was going to begin the most powerful work. The greatest awakening of all time would be in the Soviet Union. And to go and ask the churches to begin to prepare for it. I had a and I saw a Red Army Angel General. He was an angel over the Russias. He was a red, the top, he was the captain of the host in Russia. And the Lord was standing with him. That captain of the host, that Russian angel of God, he was totally red. I mean, he was like blood. And he loved the power of blood. And he was like blood and fire.
When you say that, are your thoughts the blood of Jesus, the blood of martyrdom, or both?
I felt that he was fire and blood, the blood of Christ. Mm-hmm. That would, all the power of the blood. Mm-hmm. He has the power of the blood. A strange thing. The Lord, when I was really doubting him the worst, the Lord would just nod that he was right. The Lord didn't speak to me. He stood beside him. Yeah. He was one very, very powerful angel.
You've seen this angel on more than one occasion?
Nope. That's the last time I've ever seen him.
Was this a vision or a dream or an experience, or you were there?
I was there. This Red Army, I've often thought, who was he? I saw large angels before at different times. I saw Gabriel 3 times and Michael once in my life.
And this angel, compared to them, was of similar stature?
Of similar authority. So I think he's an archangel over Russia. And this man brought me a a white piece of paper like that. And he said, would you be interested in joining the Russian army of God?
Said that to you?
Yeah. And I said, no, because the door to Russia is going to close. He said, you're a liar.
Who said you were a liar?
This angel. And I looked at the Lord, and the Lord nodded that I was deceived. And I said, Russia's going to re-equip, and it's going to attack the South. And this angel said, that's right. But did you ever see what the army was? I said, it's a Russia, it's a red army. And he said, yeah, but look. And behind them was a red cross. They're going to carry the cross south into the Muslim nations, into Europe. And he said some of the greatest evangelists in the world will come out of Russia. And in the last days, it will not be the door to Russia that closes, it'll be the door to the United States that closes, and Russia will send evangelists to the United States in the last days. And I said, this is totally different than anything that I've ever heard prophesied. And this angel said, a lot of American prophets have prophesied patriotism instead of truth. And I said, has there ever been any prophets that prophesied this? He said, yes, before 1910. And we'll begin to send you literature right away of these prophecies. And so one of the main prophecies that come was from a man by the name of Hudson Taylor.
Did the angel tell you the Hudson Taylor prophecy was true?
No. I was telling him that I really don't believe what you're telling me. Because if this is going to happen, there'd be a past revelation about it. And he says, you will get it. In the next 3 months, I will give you all kind of revelation on what true prophets spoke. And one of the first things, in fact, in my mail the next day was Hudson Taylor's prophecy.
What you're saying is that when that angel spoke to you,
an angel said he would send me the literature. And that's all I got for 3 months.
And the Hudson Taylor one was?
The first.
And it came how quickly after that angel spoke to you?
The next day.
So you had, and who?
To me, it's the truth. Well, a lot of that missionary people, when they don't believe in that kind of stuff, they'd erase it, wouldn't they? And as far as I'm concerned, Hudson Taylor's prophecy was right. Because that angel said he'd send it to me, and that's the first one he sent me.
The next day?
It was in the mail.
Was it in a letter, like, I mean, a person? Did they explain why they were sending it to you?
They just said, it was a woman, I'm told to send you this. So that thing was already set up. Well, another one was from a Russian in Israel. I forget what her name was. She was like a mother. She had heard the Russian priest prophesying what would take place in Russia. All of this was about the 70 years, too, of the Babylonian captivity, where Russia would go into 70 years. So it would end in 89. It started back there in the First World War, and the 70 years is up in 89 when the fences come down. And I was saying, well, this is totally different than anything I've ever heard prophesied. And he said, these are not true prophecies that they've prophesied this patriotism. And they figured out that Russia, but there will be a Third World War, and it will come out of some of the lower Muslim nations. But before that will come one of the greatest awakenings you've ever seen among youth in Russia. And the youth in Russia, when they get a hold of the gifts, they have nothing else that excites them. They'll totally spend their time and their energy to promote the gospel. And I said, well, I'm going to have to look this over. And he said, well, if it's true, if this prophecy is true, there'll be a tragedy right away in Oklahoma City. The building will blow up. After that is that explosion in Oklahoma City, where that federal building blew up. And so I knew then that he was talking about the army that's going to come out of the Russias will be a red Christian army, and they will go throughout the world. And I know that one of the main things he was saying, and the main thing that this Russian army of God wanted me, is to begin to mentor revelation gifts. For once they get the revelation, there's nothing that can stop them. But once the Russian youth are touched, they catch fire. This army is a fire army. I know that the mafia and a lot of things like that rule Russia now. They'll get saved. For a lot of it, they're in there because mostly in the Russias now, there's no hope. And there's no hope for youth. And so he showed me that in the Russias, that which is in the earth in Russia hasn't even been touched. The chemicals, all the value, all of that hadn't been touched. The Ukraine, none of that has really been properly handled. And the Ukraine is when the first fires start. But it explodes in every direction. And the Russian army of God is recruiting people now. So this has been going on since '89. And I'm going to recruit an army in Russia that will touch the entire world. Disciples will touch every corner of the earth. Russia is getting ready to awake. And the things that he told me that to confirm it, they've all happened right now. I saw this Russian army, this Red Army. I saw it go right in with the Muslims. And they began to touch Muslim youth. You know, they had the revelation. They knew what to do. And they weren't afraid. I mean, all their life it seemed like they'd been in fear, but they were no longer in fear. And they were without number. The greatest awakening of all time will take place in Russia.
Now, a few minutes ago, you were starting down a path where you were saying you were beginning to hear people say that the door to Russia was going to close.
That's what they were prophesying. That Russia, back there in '89, '90, they were saying, we better get the gospel in now because it's going to close. Mm-hmm. And that's not what he told me. That door will always be open in there.
That when it opened after 70 years, it would stay
It will stay open. No matter what you say, it's going to stay open in Russia. And those that have been plowing over have been plowing hard ground, but they've been, sooner or later, there'll be an awesome harvest. And some of the greatest evangelists that the world's ever seen will come out of Russia.